The air crackled with frustration on the 20th floor of Technova Solutions. Engineers were in a frenzy, baffled by a flawed algorithm that was bleeding millions of dollars daily. Then, 19-year-old Marcus Williams, a pizza delivery guy, arrived. As he waited for payment, his eyes landed on the giant screen displaying the problematic code. "My God, they're using the completely wrong data structure," he murmured almost to himself. The blonde receptionist scoffed. "Sure, the pizza delivery guy knows advanced programming. What a joke." Marcus ignored her, his gaze locked on the screen. The error was glaringly obvious to him. A simple reorganization of the binary tree and distributed hashing would fix everything. "Excuse me," he interjected, addressing a group of executives passing by. "That algorithm there, you're using linear search where you should be using hash indexing. That's why it's crashing." A stunned silence fell. 12 men in expensive suits stared at the young black man in a delivery uniform. Richard Blackstone, the company's CEO, let out a low, cruel laugh. "Kid, do you have any idea how many PhDs in computer science have been working on this project for the last 6 months?" Marcus felt a flush of heat, but his voice remained steady. "I know you've lost $97 million so far because the system crashes every 200,000 simultaneous queries." Blackstone's laughter died. That specific number hadn't been made public. "And how the hell would you know that?" Dr. Harrison, the vice president of technology, asked suspiciously. Marcus took a deep breath. His mother, Rosa Williams, had cleaned these offices for 15 years. He'd done his homework in the empty rooms during her early morning shifts, inadvertently absorbing technical conversations and documents. But revealing that would humiliate his mother. "Just observation," he replied simply. Blackstone's smile turned wicked. "All right, little genius. If you're so smart, prove it. Solve our problem." The challenge hung heavy in the air. Everyone watched Marcus, some amused, others expecting a public humiliation. They didn't know this young man had been accepted to Stanford at 16, but turned down the scholarship to care for his diabetic mother. Marcus looked at the screen, then at the expectant faces. A quiet determination flickered in his eyes. "All right," he said, pulling out a battered smartphone. "But when I get this sorted out, I want you all to remember that you judged a book by its cover." Dr. Harrison guffawed. "This is going to be better than comedy. Someone call security to film when he falls flat on his face." A crowd gathered. Employees emerged from every floor, whispering and pointing at the pizza delivery guy who dared challenge decades of engineering expertise. 15 minutes, Blackstone declared, checking his gold Rolex. "If you can't even improve our performance by 10%, I want you out of here and never to come back, and take your mother with you." Marcus's blood ran cold. How did Blackstone know about his mother? "Oh yes," the CEO continued with a venomous smile. "Rosa Williams, our night cleaning lady for the past 15 years. Hard-working woman, but perhaps it's time for mandatory retirement, especially if she finds out she raised a lying son." The humiliation burned in Marcus's chest. His mother had sacrificed everything for him. "Problem, kid," Blackstone taunted. "Still want to play programmer?" Marcus took a deep breath, recalling his mother's words. "Son, when they try to humiliate you, it's because they're afraid of what you're capable of." "You can start timing me," Marcus said, approaching the terminal. Sarah, the blonde receptionist, filmed with her phone. "This is going to go viral," she whispered. Marcus ignored them, focusing on the screen. The system was more complex than he'd imagined, layers of poorly optimized code. But his eyes, trained by nights in public libraries and free online tutorials, instantly identified the pattern. As he typed, he remembered every time he'd been underestimated. 10 minutes, Blackstone announced, expecting failure. Dr. Harrison approached, watching Marcus's code. His confident expression wavered. "Wait, that can't be right." In less than 8 minutes, Marcus had completely restructured the data architecture. Where there were 300 confusing lines, there were now 47 elegant, efficient ones. "What did you do?" a curly-haired engineer asked, genuinely curious. "I treated the system like a family budget," Marcus replied without looking away. "When you have little, you learn to do a lot. I cut out everything superfluous and organized the essentials." Blackstone approached, his smile fading. That's impossible. Our best minds have been working on this project for 6 months. Maybe the problem wasn't the minds, Marcus said calmly, but the perspectives. When you've never had to make a dollar last a week, it's hard to understand real efficiency. The tension was palpable. Employees exchanged nervous glances. 5 minutes, Blackstone muttered, his voice losing confidence. Marcus finished the last lines and stepped away. Done. You can test it. Dr. Harrison hesitated, then started the simulation. The screen flashed, numbers cascaded, then silence. The system processed 200,000 simultaneous queries in 3 seconds. 0 crashes, 0 errors. That's not possible, someone whispered. Marcus looked directly at Blackstone. 97% improvement in performance, 90% reduction in processing time. The monthly cost of the servers should be cut in half. The lobby was silent. Sarah had stopped filming, mouth agape. Even the receptionist seemed stunned. Blackstone clenched his fists, his face red with anger. That was luck, a trick. You copied that from somewhere. I can do it again from scratch if you want, Marcus offered calmly, or explain every line of code to your team. Maybe even give you a few lessons in system optimization. That's when Blackstone made his biggest mistake. Losing all composure, he bellowed for the entire company to hear, I will not be humiliated by a black pizza delivery boy. Security, get this bum out of here. The silence that followed was deafening. Dozens of cell phones had captured those words. The racism Blackstone had disguised for years had just exploded. Marcus stood motionless, a barely perceptible smile on his lips. He had achieved exactly what he needed to. Not only had he solved the technical problem, but he had exposed the true nature of the man who ran that company. Interesting, Marcus said calmly, picking up his backpack. Because under state labor law, racial discrimination in the workplace is a federal crime. And considering that about 20 people filmed this, every new word from Blackstone's mouth only dug him deeper into a hole. While Marcus stood with the serenity of someone who had just turned a moment of humiliation into the first piece of a much more complex game, Blackstone's words still echoed as Marcus left the building. 20 minutes later, he found his mother, Rosa Williams, preparing dinner. She looked at his face and knew immediately. Tell me everything, she said. Marcus recounted every detail. Rosa listened silently, her eyes filling with tears of pride and concern. My son, she said finally, do you have any idea what you've just done? I've probably made the biggest mistake of my life, Marcus sighed. I've exposed you, exposed myself, and now, Rosa interrupted firmly, you've shown who you really are. And if this man thinks he can destroy our family after 15 years of me sweating to clean up his mistakes, he doesn't know the Williams family. She went to the closet, pulling out a dusty shoebox filled with letters, documents, and photographs. Son, there are things about Teknova you don't know. Things I've seen during all these years of working nights. Marcus looked at the papers, surprised. Fraudulent contracts, printed emails about illegal dismissals, photos of executives using drugs. Mom, did you collect all this? When you're invisible, Rosa smiled sadly, people talk and do things as if you don't exist. For 15 years, I saw and heard much more than I should have. The next day, Marcus received an unexpected call. Hello, is this Marcus Williams? My name is David Chun. I'm an investigative journalist with TechWatch News. I saw the video that went viral yesterday about your interaction with Richard Blackstone. Marcus hesitated. I'm not sure I want to give interviews. It's not an interview, David interrupted. It's a proposal for collaboration. I've been investigating illegal labor practices at Teknova for 2 years. I have inside sources who confirm a systematic pattern of discrimination, but I need more solid evidence. They met at a discreet cafe. David was a middle-aged man with piercing eyes. Marcus, that video was just the tip of the iceberg, David explained, showing him a folder of documents. Blackstone has a history of firing black employees for fabricated reasons, paying women less than men for identical jobs, and using questionable accounting schemes to avoid taxes. Marcus flipped through the documents, recognizing names his mother had mentioned. What do you need from me? Inside access. Your mother has worked there for 15 years. You have exceptional technical skills. And now Blackstone has made the mistake of publicly underestimating you. He'll try to cover up the video scandal, but if we can get additional evidence, we can destroy him completely, Marcus finished, a determined gleam in his eyes. Meanwhile, Blackstone called an emergency meeting. The video had surpassed 200,000 views. I want that kid and his mother out of my sight by the end of the week, he raged. And I want someone to find a way to invalidate the solution he created. There must be a mistake somewhere. Dr. Harrison, unusually quiet until now, spoke up. Richard, maybe we should consider offering the boy a position. He clearly has talent, and it could help with our public image. Are you crazy? Blackstone exploded. I'm not going to reward some arrogant kid who humiliated me in public. Find a way to get rid of him, or I'll find people who can. What Blackstone didn't know was that Dr. Harrison had discreetly recorded the entire conversation. Years of observing the CEO's questionable practices had finally reached a breaking point when he witnessed genuine talent being rejected out of pure prejudice. That night, Harrison called the number David Shun had given Marcus. I have something you guys will want to hear, he said. Over the next few days, Marcus was transformed. By day, he continued delivering pizzas. By night, he worked with David and now Harrison to methodically document every irregularity at Teknova. They uncovered a frightening pattern: overpriced software development contracts for shell companies, minority employees systematically passed over for promotions, and a scheme where Blackstone sold insider information to competitors. We have enough material to destroy his career and bankrupt the company, David said during a nightly meeting at Marcus's apartment. No, Marcus replied calmly, surprising everyone. We don't want to destroy the company. There are good people there, honest employees who depend on these jobs. We want something more surgical. Rosa smiled, recognizing her wisdom. The best revenge isn't to stoop to their level, son. It's rising so high that they feel tiny looking up at you. Marcus nodded, a plan forming. Blackstone thinks I'm just an ignorant pizza delivery guy. Let's use that arrogance against him. He turned to David. You said you have contacts on Teknova's board of directors? 3 members who are growing increasingly dissatisfied with Blackstone's management. Why? Marcus smiled, a dangerous gleam in his eyes. Because we're going to give them an alternative they never saw coming. Blackstone wants to humiliate me publicly. Perfect. We'll give him exactly that opportunity. As they planned, a shadowy figure watched from a window in the next building. Blackstone had hired a private investigator, certain he'd find something compromising. He didn't know his paranoia was becoming the final catalyst for his destruction. Every desperate move provided more evidence for the growing dossier. Marcus looked at his mother, then at David and Harrison. Are you ready to turn the tables completely? They all nodded, and in that humble kitchen, a plan was born that would not only transform their lives, but redefine corporate justice. The boy Blackstone had tried to humiliate was about to become his worst nightmare. The twist would be elegant and devastating. The Teknova conference room had never seen a meeting like this. Blackstone had summoned the entire board, tech press, and major investors for a demonstration of leadership and corporate integrity. Gentlemen, Blackstone declared, adjusting his Italian tie, I have brought you here today to witness how we deal with problematic employees and attempts to defame our company. Marcus entered calmly, wearing his simple shirt. Blackstone smiled like a predator. Ah, our famous pizza genius has arrived, he announced to the room. I hope you've recorded this, because today you're going to see a lying kid get completely exposed. Marcus sat, noting the strategically placed cameras. Perfect. Mr. Williams, Blackstone began, pacing theatrically. You claimed you improved our system by 97%. Our experts have discovered that this was pure luck, an amateur trick. Dr. Harrison, sitting at the back, exchanged a nervous glance with Marcus. The plan was working. In fact, Blackstone continued, we've discovered that you and your mother are involved in a scheme to steal intellectual property from our company. We have evidence that she photographed confidential documents during her nightly cleanings. A shocked murmur rippled through the room. Marcus remained motionless, but his eyes flashed. That's a very serious accusation, Mr. Blackstone, Marcus said calmly. I hope you have proof to back that up. Of course I do, Blackstone shouted, losing composure. I hired a private investigator who documented everything. Photos of your mother in places she shouldn't have been? The two of you meeting with suspicious people? Marcus nodded slowly. Interesting. And this private investigator, did he follow you as well? Blackstone stopped pacing. What do you mean by that? Marcus took a tablet from his pocket and connected it to the room's projection system. Because while your private detective was following me, David Chun from TechWatch News was investigating something much more interesting. The first image was a photo of Blackstone leaving an expensive restaurant with a man, 3 weeks ago. This is Vladimir Petrov, representative of TechCorp Russia, Marcus explained. Technova's direct competitor. You were discussing the sale of proprietary algorithms for $12 million. Blackstone's face paled. That's fake. A montage. Marcus clicked again, an audio recording. Blackstone's unmistakable voice filled the room. The machine learning algorithm is worth at least $20 million on the black market. I can deliver the complete source code by the end of the month. That's been taken out of context, Blackstone shouted, his voice losing all authority. Context? Marcus smiled for the first time. Let's give some more context then. The next slides showed forged contracts, emails about racially motivated dismissals, and photos of executives using drugs. Exactly the material Rosa had collected. My God, murmured an investor. Richard, is this true? But Marcus wasn't finished. The screen now showed the complete recording of the original meeting between him and Blackstone, including the racist words. And now, Marcus said, his voice growing stronger, the part that really matters. The final presentation showed the actual financial results of implementing Marcus's algorithm. In 2 weeks, it had saved the company exactly $143 million in operating costs and increased efficiency by 120%. All of that, Marcus said, looking directly at Blackstone, was generated by a solution created by a black pizza delivery kid using knowledge gained, while my mother, a dignified woman who worked 15 years at this company, cleaned up the mistakes you left behind. The room was silent. Blackstone was visibly shaking, sweat pouring down his forehead. You planned this. You set me up. No, Marcus replied calmly, turning off the projector. You set yourself up. I just documented it. At that moment, David Chun entered with 2 federal agents. Richard Blackstone, you are under arrest for industrial espionage, racial discrimination in the workplace, and tax fraud. As Blackstone was handcuffed, he shouted desperately, This is persecution. You can't do this to me. I built this company. Marcus stood, adjusted his simple shirt, and looked at the man who had tried to destroy his family. Mr. Blackstone, the difference between us is simple. You used your position to oppress people. I used my intelligence to protect them. As Blackstone was led away, a board member approached Marcus. Mr. Williams, we'd like to discuss a proposal with you. We're in need of a new CEO. Marcus smiled, thinking of his mother, who was probably preparing dinner in their small apartment that would soon no longer be necessary. I'll consider it, but first I need to deliver a pizza. The room erupted in nervous laughter. 6 months later, Marcus Williams walked the halls of Technova, no longer a pizza delivery boy, but the youngest CEO in the company's history. At 20, he led 200 employees and oversaw billion-dollar contracts. The irony was not lost on anyone. The same lobby where he had been humiliated now displayed his picture on the executive wall, just below the corporate slogan he had created. Excellence has no color, only results. How does it feel to be called Silicon Valley's youngest and most innovative CEO? A Forbes reporter asked during an interview for the cover story. Marcus smiled, adjusting his tie. Funny, 6 months ago, I was just the black pizza delivery boy. Apparently, the title changes when you save a company from bankruptcy. Technova's transformation was spectacular. Under Marcus, the company recovered the $97 million it had lost and tripled its market value. His revolutionary algorithm was licensed worldwide. Rosa Williams, now retired with a generous pension Marcus had insisted on for all cleaning staff, watched proudly from the front row at her son's Executive of the Year award ceremony. "I never doubted it," she whispered. "I always knew that boy would fly high. I just didn't know he would fly so high that even I couldn't reach him." Richard Blackstone became a pariah. After 4 months in federal prison for industrial espionage and racial discrimination, no tech company would hire him. His former colleagues avoided him. His golf club canceled his membership. His ex-wife divorced him, taking half his remaining assets. He now lived in a one-bedroom apartment, freelancing for small businesses unaware of his past. Videos of his arrest still circulated online, always with comments about karma. Dr. Harrison, now Technova's vice president, often commented in meetings, "I've never seen such a complete turnaround. Marcus turned humiliation into inspiration, and Blackstone turned privilege into prison." During a diversity conference, Marcus was asked how he'd forgiven those who tried to destroy him. "Forgive?" Marcus chuckled. "I didn't forgive him. I just used the energy he gave me more intelligently. Blackstone taught me that the best revenge isn't to bring your enemy down to your level, but to rise so high that he becomes irrelevant." Sarah, the former arrogant receptionist, now worked at a small accounting firm after being fired for inappropriate customer service. Whenever she saw Marcus in the news, she felt a twinge of regret, remembering how she had underestimated him. The conference room where it all began was renovated into the Marcus Williams Innovation Center, a space for employees from all backgrounds to share ideas without judgment. A gold plaque on the wall bore his quote, "Genius ignored today is the revolution of tomorrow." Marcus maintained a simple routine. Every Friday night, he volunteered to deliver pizzas to city shelters. "To remember where I came from," he explained, "and so that other young people can see that it doesn't matter where you are today, it matters where you are going." David Chun, the journalist, wrote a bestseller, From Delivery Boy to CEO, How Truth Broke Down an Empire of Lies. 2 years after his humiliation, Marcus received an invitation to speak at Stanford. At the end, a student asked, "If you could go back in time, would you change anything?" Marcus thought for a moment, looking at the inspired young people. "I would change only one thing. I would have delivered that pizza 5 minutes earlier, so I would have had more time to see Blackstone's shocked face when he realized he had underestimated the wrong kid." The audience erupted in laughter and applause. Richard Blackstone tried to destroy a talented young black man, but unwittingly built the legend of Marcus Williams. The former CEO learned the hard way that true revenge is not getting even for humiliation. It's achieving such resounding success that your oppressors spend the rest of their lives wondering how they could have been so blind.